friends, my name is Simranjeet Kaur and I have been working with Biyani group of colleges, and today I am going to discuss the different modes of communication based on style and channel on behalf of Guru KPU. As we know that communication is the exchange of views and ideas from one person to another, there are different modes of communication which we use, and the modes of communication can be based on the channel and it can be based on the style and purpose. Firstly, we will discuss the channel based communication. Types of communication based on communication channels. As we can see, there are different types of channels by which we communicate with the other people. Types of communication channels can be divided into verbal and non-verbal. Verbal means that we have to interact with the other person or we have to communicate with the other person with the help of some kind of words or some kind of language. And non-verbal communication, as we all know, it is the use of hand gestures and body language. Verbal communication can be further classified into written communication, oral communication and visual communication. First of all, we will discuss the written communication. Written communication is the communication with other person by the use of some kind of written document. We can use emails or we can make use of letters while we want to communicate with the other person. And written communication is preferred in case we want to communicate some kind of complicated information to the other person, because that is not very much possible in case of oral and visual communication. That's why we make use of the written communication. Written communication has another advantage, that the records can be maintained and they can be referred to in the future. Another form of verbal communication which makes use of some kind of words or language, it is oral communication. Oral communication is a very easy form of communication and it generally takes place by face to face or over telephone. We interact with the other person through face to face, and this forms the quickest form of communication. And oral communication is preferred in case we want to have a direct interaction with the person concerned. And a third form of communication is the visual communication. It also comes under the verbal communication. Visual communication is that form of communication which makes the communication very attractive and interesting. In case we want to discuss some kind of data or we want to discuss some kind of graphs, then you make use of the visual communication. In visual communication, we make use of some kind of diagrams or charts or tables, etc. This makes the formal communication very interesting. And then comes another type of communication based on the channel is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is that form of communication in which we make use of some kind of body language or hand gestures, etc. Our facial expressions also play a very important role while during the communication. So these are the different types of communication based on channels. Types of communication can also be based on style and purpose. As we have already discussed that the channel based communication is verbal communication and non-verbal communication, but if it is based on style and purpose, then it is categorized as formal communication and informal communication. Formal communication is that type of communication which takes place between two strangers, or it generally occurs in the corporate sector or the business world, where the communication has to be formal and it has to follow a set formal format, because people have to communicate with each other in that format only. They cannot be very casual while communicating with each other. It can be further categorized as horizontal communication and vertical communication. Horizontal communication is that type of communication which occurs between the people of the same level. If the colleagues are working together and they have to communicate with each other, then horizontal communication takes place, and they can, in this type of communication, they can make exchange of some kind of ideas or suggestions, and they can help in the improvement of the colleagues. Another form of communication which comes under the formal communication is vertical communication. Vertical communication comprises of downward and the upward communication. Downward communication is that type of communication where the top hierarchy level communicates with the people of the lower level. This kind of communication includes all kind of suggestions and also any kind of information which needs to be conveyed to the lower level or the other people, then this type of communication takes place. It also includes orders, etc. Another communication is upward communication. It is completely the reverse of the downward communication. Upward communication is that communication which takes place from the low level department to the higher level department. In this kind of communication, any kind of complaints or suggestions are welcomed. And another type of communication which is under the style and the purpose, that is informal communication. Informal communication is that communication which takes place casually, and it generally takes place between the people who know them very well. And generally when we talk to our friends or relatives, this kind of communication is preferred because we do not have to follow any kind of set formal format. And here any kind of restrictions are not there. People can generally talk to each other very easily and comfortably. And but informal communication has also some disadvantages, like in informal communication there can be distortion of the message. When a set formal format is not followed, then there can be distortion of the message. One person is saying something else and that another message can be communicated to the other person. Thank you everyone. If you have liked this video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our Guru KPO channel. Thank you.